what? And this is why a lot of people have been saying, are we going to end up in the same crap that we had been in for I'm going to say 41 days if you include the day, because the deal has not been locked down. It has not been on lock. Okay. And it's really sad because I want also people to understand this, even when this current shutdown ends, and this will be the longest government shutdown ever in history. The second longest was during President Trump's first term, which lasted 35 days. And I want people to understand this, especially people out there that call themselves Democrats. FYI, America was in a government shutdown when it also had Democrats as the president, such as Bill Clinton and former President Obama. But I will give you this, right? And I'm standing on this. If Obama would have been president right now, he would have not allowed these Democrat Congress play in our faces like this, right? And why do I say that? Because when it came down to Chuck Schumer actually, he was confused. He said 1 minute him and Bernie Sanders yesterday on a Sunday of all days. I thought people go, you know what? I'm gonna leave it on a Sunday of all days, right? They made sure to show up Sunday, yesterday. They made sure. And when it came down to Chuck, he said, and a lot of Democrats said this, right? A lot of the Democrats, still were trying to, hold fold. And what was it that they were trying to hold fold on? They was trying to hold fold on in the sense that, I'm going to vote no. I'm still going to vote no for this. Still going to vote no. Us Democrats, we need to stand together and fight. That is what Chuck Schumer said. And I said, who the hell are you talking to? Fight for who? Who in the world are you talking to? And the reason I'm saying that is because at the end of the day, for those that don't know, at the end of the day, I thought that the Americans voted for Congress. I thought that Congress was supposed to be the voice for the people. But when Chuck Schumer made that erratic speech yesterday, it proved to me he doesn't care about you and I. He doesn't. He's still upset at who's in office right now. He's upset at President Trump. Remember what I said. He's upset at President Trump. Not about the other Republicans. Not about you. He's upset President Trump. Just like AOC, just like Hakeem Jeffries, just like Shifty Schiff, and he needs to be indicted immediately. They do not care. They're very upset, and they're going off of emotions. That's what it is. Because if they cared about us, we wouldn't be walking into day 41 of government shutdown. Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. It's not over until the House of Representatives says it's over. Yes, for those that don't know, the House of Senate yesterday made an agreement, came to a deal. Okay, and I've never seen Senator John Thune look so disturbed. He needs to get rest. He needs to get some rest. Maybe he needs to have a conversation with Senator Kennedy of Louisiana and Senator Mike Johnson. Maybe he needs to have those type of conversations, because at the end of the day, John Thune, I'm telling you right now, he looked like he wanted to cuss. He wanted to cuss Mike Schumer out. He wanted to cuss him out. Because it's like, I know darn well you guys not having the audacity to offer us a deal, and part of that damn deal was what we talked about back in October. You could have signed that CR deal back then. Get out of here. Get out of here. But I'm sorry, my prayers goes out to us all. Prayers goes out to us all. For those who don't know, also prayers goes out to Jesus Christ. When all is said and done, one person had to make sure they were standing up in a sound yesterday, and that was President Trump's niece, Mary Trump. Yes, Mary Trump on a Sunday, right along with Wild Chuck Schumer. She did a video questioning her uncle's cognitive senses. Oh, yes, she did. She had the nerve to say Donald Trump and Joe Biden are in the same category. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She said Donald Trump right now in his 11th, almost 11 month as president during the second term. She said my uncle is not in his right mind. And this is coming from Donald Trump's niece, Mary Trump. Now, truth be told, Mary Trump, we may not have to, we may not can take all what she say for fair, right? And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Donald Trump's niece, she's claimed that her uncle is, quote unquote, is not a well man, as she took a cognitive test to prove that it should have been easy for her uncle to pass. And she stated, and I quote, Donald Trump is not a well man, and we need to continue to focus on the ways in which he is deteriorating cognitively, psychologically, emotionally, and intellectually. Now, the person I'm speaking about that made this quote, okay, she had a lot to say. She throwed a lot of rice out there in the wind. This is his own daughter. Well, I'm sorry, his own niece. Okay, who's the daughter to Donald Trump's older brother, Fred Trump Jr. And according to Mary Trump, she gave Americans a warning, people a warning about the current president. She stated that after undergoing his second physical of last month, President Trump appeared to be confused cognitively. And she stated that her 79-year-old uncle is, in her words, is not doing well at all. And my whole thing is this: what in the hell are you doing releasing a video talking about your uncle who is the president right now? Here's my question, Mary Trump. Do you have some money? Do you have some money to help the people here in America that are in need? Do you have some money for the TSA workers? Do you have some money for the other federal employees who are working without pay, who are still owed money? Do you have some money, Mary Trump? Because I don't need to hear you throw any shame to your uncle, and it is embarrassing. I'm just being honest. See, this is the same mess that Joe Biden went through. This is the same mess that Joe Biden went through. And I'm gonna be honest to say, and Joe Biden is still going through the crowd. Why? Because, I'm not gonna say no names, right? But people are still talking about former Joe Biden, still saying that, he's not in his right mind, and he's not, and then there has been hearings when it came down to, was he even available with signing a lot of these bills that transpired during his term as president, right? Hashtag autopin. But my thing is this: Trump hasn't been in office he hasn't even been in office a year, and his own niece, during a government shutdown, had the audacity to make a video where I'm gonna be honest, it's monetized. She's making money off of this, talking about her own uncle. And I would say this: if I was President Trump, I would sue my niece. Because my thing is this: you have no proof of the words that you're saying about your uncle. She stated, and I quote, "My uncle is not well." She's stating that that he's deteriorating cognitively, psychologically, emotionally, and intellectually. Where is your proof? right? Where's your proof? Now, if you want to get to the facts, facts are yes. I don't agree with how President Trump has been moving recently when it comes down to um, giving 20 billion, some say 40 billion, to Argentina, right? I don't necessarily agree with that. Especially, it was a loan. For those who don't know, it was a loan. I don't agree with that. Why? Because you're giving the money to a president that has shown and proved to Argentina that he cannot be trusted. That's the main reason Argentina needed Trump's help. So, from that standpoint, hell no, I don't agree with that part. Why would you give another president $20 billion and you got a lot of mess going on over here in America? If anything, we need to do a further thorough investigation. Shout out to the justices of herself, Justice Jackson. We need to do a thorough investigation when it comes down to this fraudulent program that I call SNAP, this other fraudulent program that I call affordable housing. Do a thorough investigation on that, just like you do a thorough investigation on a lot of these scam artists when it comes down to the mass deportation. Do a thorough investigation on the SNAP, because I'm telling you guys right now, billions and billions of dollars had been wasted, and a lot of people who need the funds have not been giving it. They have not received it. Serious. And I'm telling you right now, if SNAP was so on point, right? Why does it cost $9 billion a month to provide for SNAP recipients? $9 billion? But I digress. Thank you guys for coming in. And the reason, this is, I'm just kind of just flabbergasted with the fact people are standing in lines. And I want people to understand this. Even when the House of Representatives makes their decision to move forward with the deal that was agreed upon yesterday on Sunday by the House of Senate, if those that don't know, it's going to take weeks to at least a year for everything to get back to what it once was. So don't think that even when this deal is signed, sealed, and delivered, that everything is all going to go back to what it once was. That's a lie. That's a lie. But I do feel that the Democrats did not help by acting like little 2-year-olds in a sandbox by saying, well, I'm not going to sign this deal. And you just literally allowed 41 days to go by during the government shutdown, and literally saw people begging, crying. As a matter of fact, some people have already said, I cannot even afford this I can't even afford the premium anyway. You're sitting here talking about extending the Affordable Care Act. I can't even afford to do a premium anyway. And I will say this. I'm letting people have their little way in the chat, but don't think I'm not reading it, right? Don't think I'm not reading it. And shout out to the mod team for holding it down, because you can be respectful. But since you don't want to be respectful, I'm going to just let you listen and watch. I'm going to just let you listen and watch. And thank you guys for coming in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. You're listening to Politic Graham. And shout out to Child on Demand. Child on Demand says it best. Take your vote. Should the government reopen, and why? And please don't comment. Please do not comment on this platform, criticizing people's views and opinions. It's my view. It's our views and opinion that, a lot of what has been going on during the government shutdown, this could have been avoided and resolved. Because to be honest, the government shutdown should have never existed. Should have never even transpired. It makes no sense for a single father, and I want people to understand this. It makes no sense for a single father to a teenage daughter, a 14-year-old daughter. He has to work 10-hour shift as an air traffic controller. Sorry, not air traffic controller, but with TSA. And then right after he works that 10-hour shift, he has to work another job for DoorDash. Why? Because he said in his word, I don't want my daughter to feel it, what is going on. And my daughter is in private school, and in a Catholic private school. And I don't want her to have to get out of school during this government shutdown. This is why, all this could have been avoided. And this is why I tell people, a lot of these so-called politicians say we are here for the families, we're here for the people. I want people to understand this. Everybody is not receiving SNAP. Everybody's not on EBT. Yes, child. Yes, it was I don't know if you heard about this gentleman. I was brought to tears. And what was so wild about it is that the gentleman that I'm speaking about, when it made headlines, DoorDash, they donated $10,000 to him to help provide for his daughter's tuition. So when you think of levels like that, I want Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, I want them to actually understand that there are people that don't receive SNAP, but they're still struggling. There are people that work 2 or 3 jobs just so they can provide for their children, just so they can provide for themselves. So, when they sit there and tell you, 42 million people not gonna eat, what about the single parents that working 2 or 3 jobs and they're not on no damn SNAP? Get out of here. Get out of here. What about the senior citizens? What about we can't forget about the federal employees. What about the nurses? Let's talk about it. What about the teachers? Right? So I want people to understand this at the end of the day, okay? If you're really here for the people, as you say, Chuck Schumer, right? Think about everybody. And when it comes down to, a lot of people that are on SNAP, that a lot of people on affordable housing, also have a discussion with how to get them off so they can also be beneficial to society, where they won't be quote unquote institutionalized to find ways to stay and stand on the system and not get off the system. Because see, that's why you have 42 million SNAP recipients right now. It's went up double. That's why we need to have a plan. And Chuck Schumer doesn't have a plan. And that's the main reason I think when January the 30th comes, we might end up in another government shutdown. Reason I'm speaking about this, I know people right now in real life that have been victims to affordable housing and SNAP. They have been victims. And why do I say that? Woman in her 50s. I mentioned about this in the last live. A woman in her 50s, okay, because of government shutdown transpired. Also because she wanted to help everybody else but herself while she was receiving government funds. She ended up getting hospitalized not once but twice. Okay? I'm gonna tell you how, you know, they don't prepare. They don't prepare. When I say they don't prepare, the system does not prepare people for success, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, don't listen to these politicians." A lot of these politicians, they don't care. That's the reason that a lot of people say, "I don't even vote. I don't vote because, hey, they're not going to listen to me anyway." Why do they say that? Woman in her 50s. She's a tenant for somebody that I know. She ended up, can't make this up. This happened this weekend. Um, because she got hospitalized, she was not able to physically take care of herself. She had to get off her current lease with somebody that I know, because she couldn't stay at the location by herself, and she had two grown men staying with her that she called her grandsons, her babies, babies that are the age of 21 and up, two boys, two men. What happened to her on Saturday? She actually was trying to help them after she got out of the hospital, barely could walk. Even allowed one of her grandsons that don't have a driver's license drive her car, and another grandson was with her. You know what they did? They throwed her out of her own car, and the owner called me and asked me, "Have I seen the thing?" I said, I thought I told you about this lady 3-4 months back. She had problems. She needed some help. She needed help. Her grandson, let me tell you what they did. Because they knew that November was the month that she was going to have to move out her current situation and get some real assistance with people to help her. They actually put her in a car, throwed her out of a car. She was found on a sidewalk on the ground, and now she's in the hospital again. Oh, I forgot one more thing. They took her phone. Took her phone. And remember, I said she was part of the snap. Her grandsons, these men that are over 21 years old, they end up using her funds up. Yes. See, I tell that story in the sense that, well, why didn't anybody listen to me when I reached out to the proper people to help this 56-year-old lady? Why didn't people listen? No, what did they do? Oh, they just kept giving her money on a card. I even talked to the owner. He said he was even scared of the grandsons. Mind you, she's on under affordable housing and receives SNAP. Now think about this. Her car is stolen. They cannot find her grandsons right now. And she's back in the hospital right now. This is why I say it's bigger than what people like Chuck Schumer say and Bernie Sanders say. When they speak about, well, who's going to feed the 42 million people? It's core issues that goes on. And I'm telling you guys right now, people need help. But they need more help than just giving. They need full help. Because her grandsons, I want to make sure people understand this. Her grandsons, they never knew their quote unquote mothers. They were not raised by men. They were raised by their grandmother, who also had her struggles. And how did the system help? They did nothing. It did nothing. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. I just wanted to, and thank you, Wendell. My apologies. I'm just now going back into the live. Going to highlight. Window says 9B divided by 40 is equal to 225. That is no money. And this is why. Are you talking? Wait. Are you talking about Snap? Now, I will say this. We need to get it together. And when I say we need to get it together, shout out to Wendell. The Congress needs to get it together. And this is why I stated in the last live, and I'm stating it right now. And I hope President Trump, if Congress tries to pull this buffoonery again, I really, really hope that President Trump, sets a deadline that if Congress does not decide, on what to do with the bill, and Congress has to go into another government shutdown, they will not get paid. And I think that's fair. And I think that is honestly fair. But going back into the comments, shout out to Wendell, and let me make sure I highlight that, because I always, like I stated, for anybody that provides a super sticker or becomes a member to the platform, I will put you in the quote unquote banner. And thank you so much, Wendell. And my apologies for just reading the quote unquote. Let me make sure I put you in the banner. Shout out to Wendell. And thank you so much again. And ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Politic Graham. Shout out to Wendell Scott, putting you in the banner right now as we speak. I'll put you in. And thank you guys for coming in. Going back into the comments, we do have a live poll. Should the government reopen? 59% says yes, make America great again. 29% says no. 12% says I plead the fifth. I want to say one more thing. It's wild because for me personally, I'm still going through with my relative that is still in the hospital. Separate. I have a separate. These are separate things. I haven't even told the. It's so wild because the owner had the audacity to reach out to me about their issues because they had been doing bad, being a bad landlord, in my personal opinion, right? And they asked me, well, have you seen such and so grandsons, all this? And I haven't even told them I have a relative in the hospital right now. I have a relative in the hospital right now that was on life support. Don't want to get too much into it. All I'm going to say is she still cannot talk, is not mobile, and I'm literally been reaching out to not one, not two, but 20 different facilities to see where to take her. Why? Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to Medicare and Medicaid. Why? It's a lot of processes that people don't understand, right? And this is why I say, a lot has to be done when it comes down to reforming affordable care. When it comes down to not only reforming affordable care, reforming SNAP, because this has also affected my loved one. I'm not going to send my loved one to a facility that has a reputation of people ending up not making it out. And it's crazy because this owner doesn't know nothing about this, but they want me to be their watchdog. They want me to be their watchdog on their property, and this landlord is a millionaire. And that's why I say, Congress, if only you knew half of the problems that people here in America have. Because you can have quote unquote, all the education. You can have, quote unquote, certain things. But just because you're not on EBT, SNAP, you're not on the HUD, housing, affordable care, that doesn't mean the people are not still having problems and are not instead in need of more help. That's why I say it takes more than just throwing a few little pennies at somebody to really help them. And shout out to everybody in the live. Thank you guys for coming in. Going back into the comments, my apologies. We do have a live poll. Should the government reopen? 59% says yes. 29% says no. 12% says it's too early for this. I plead the fifth. When I tell you, I have no respect for people like Chuck Schumer. I have no respect because it tells me, and it's not just Chuck, like I stated, anybody that feels that the shutdown should still be a shutdown, something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. And anybody that feels that the ACA needs to be extended with no reform, something also is wrong with you. If you feel that, and I see the comment, shout out to Texas Flood. Thank you for coming in. Texas Flood says term limits. I feel Congress should have a limitation when it comes down to their terms, just like presidents do. I also feel that people who are on SNAP should have a limit on how long they receive SNAP. There should be also a limit of how long somebody is on government housing. That should be a limit, because what happened to people wanting more as far as not only maybe education, if you can't do education, but what about picking up a vocational trade? Because look how we're in the situation that we're in now, ladies and gentlemen. When it came down to President Trump, right, signed the multi-million-dollar deal with Hyundai. But look what Hyundai had to do. They had to bring engineers and people from China. Why? Because the people here in America, according to what Hyundai say, the CEO of Hyundai say, the people here in America are not properly, quote unquote, educated enough. So it's sad that people from China have to come over here and train Americans how to fully work, how to fully deal with EV cars, EV vehicles. It's also sad that that other companies such as Hyundai, such as Toyota, we're gonna name them. They don't feel that the quote unquote Americans are smart enough, are educated enough, and it shows. See, these are the things that I want Congress to talk about. Talk about how you're going to quote unquote, have a limitation when it comes down to certain funds. So you talk about, families are not being fed. Why don't we teach these families how to pick up a trade? And no, I'm not. See, that's the main reason. 56-year-old lady that I know, she did so much she could for her grandsons. Why? Because she felt like the society did not prepare her sons. Because I stand on this. It's certain things that a woman is not going to be able to teach a grandson or a son. There's certain things a man is not going to be able to teach their daughter, their granddaughter. We have to fill in the void. We have to fill in that block. And filling in that block does not mean continuing to just give out money and not having audits. not having audits, not having people check up on the ones that are on these so-called programs. So we're on that level. And thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Gram. Shout out to everybody in the live. If you would like your name to be highlighted, like Wendell, thank you so much for the chat. Wendell says 9 billion divided by 40 million is only 225. That is no money. Shout out to Wendell. If you would like your names to be highlighted in the banner for over a month, we do accept super stickers where you support the platform and support the people. Hello, God. God says people with common sense don't need the government. Whoa, bingo. And, I want people to understand this, right? It's a lot of things that people don't know on the back end. It's a lot of things people don't know on the back end. And what do I mean when I say on the back end? Back end is, right? Notice Congress didn't talk about Social Security. Well, the Democrats anyway. Not the Democrats. Democrats didn't talk about Social Security, right? They didn't speak on that. They didn't want to tell you that with all this overspending that's going on, where's money going to be for people who are going to have Social Security? Because every time you work, portions of your check goes for what? Social Security. But according to studies, Social Security will not be there by the year 2034. And, shout out to God. God said it best. People with common sense don't need the government. I will say this, right? Don't put yourself in a position where you end up being controlled by the government. And this is why I feel, people who are on certain programs, if they stay on it so long, they end up becoming complacent. They end up becoming dependent on the government funds. Just like when people who are in prison for decades and then they get out, they're not able to adjust to society. Why? Because all they really know is how to survive in a prison system and not survive in society. So my thoughts when it comes down to Chuck Schumer and them, let's work on not only helping people, right? Helping people, but helping people become more self-sufficient and independent. Because if we were focusing on that here in America and stop focusing prior to this administration, I'm not gonna get into it. But prior to this administration that we're in, what was America doing? Right? This goes all the way back decades back. How do you think the Panama Canal was formed? Why do you think that was given back to Panama to help Panama? And look what Panama has done. Right? So I say that to say we need to focus lock in on what's going on here in America, helping the people here in America, right? Because what good can America do for people outside this country if we continue to overspend and our billions and billions turn into trillions of dollars of debt? There will not be Social Security for you and I. There will not be. If Congress continues with the blasphemy, if Congress continues with the blasphemy, there would not be any money available for Americans. Think of it that way. then Flowers says, ma'am, they have been saying this since the 40s. Flowers, I don't know if you're a sir, ma'am, he, she, it, they, we, I don't know what you are, but thank you for coming in. I will say this, okay? The issue is a lot of these congressmen that are in their position, they have been in their roles for decades, right? And the only reason Nancy Pelosi made her huge announcement last week that she was not going to run again after her term ends in January of 2027 is because what are people talking about? They're talking about a lot of fraudulent activities that her and her husband did to help them gain the over what 200 something million dollars net worth that they have together. So, yes, they've been doing this for decades, but what has Congress been doing to fix the issues? And Randy, okay? Randy says we just got billions back in tariffs. This is why I ask people, let's do our research, right? Because for those who don't know, our current administration is in a lawsuit, right? A number of lawsuits. And our current administration is waiting for the Supreme Court of Justice to make a decision when it comes down to those tariffs that President Trump had implemented earlier this year, right? And yes, we have made, according to President Trump, well, let me take it back. According to reports, the United States has made, and according to the U.S. Treasury, the United States has made 195 billion. Some people say 195 billion. So it's U.S. Treasury. When I looked it up, others say 200 billion. Oh my goodness! Shout out to Wendell. Wendell says the health of a country. See, Wendell gets the first dibs. Let me see what Wendell has to say. Thank you so much, Wendell. Wendell says the health of a country and its government is contingent on the behavior of its people as a collective. If fragmented, only the special interest gains. Thank you. Thank you. Let me write Wendell. I'm gonna write you down, Wendell. Because this is what I am saying. And I want people to understand this, right? This is why we have been having issues for some people tried to be funny in the chat talking about, oh, this has been going on since the 40s. But what has Congress done to stop this mess? What has the government done to stop this mess? And shout out to Wendell. Wendell, you said it best. The health of a country and its government is contingent on the behavior of its people as a collective. If fragmented, only the special interest gains. And who have made the gains? And I want to talk about that, right? Who has been making the gains? The people that has been making the gains, and there's no disrespect of the person that I'm going to speak about. I'm just gonna mention the name. I know people gonna get mad, but who has made the gains? Why do you think Elon Musk is about to receive a $1 trillion payout, right? Why do you think not only Elon Musk, right, is receiving huge payouts? Now, he is going to be in history as being the richest man in the world. Richest man in the world. With how many kids? Mind my business. But this is what happens when, Congress does not invest in the real issues that is going on here in America. Real issues are when it comes down to better education. Real issues are when it comes down to crime prevention. Real issues are, how is it somebody like President Trump had to come in and say, we need to bring more jobs back here in America? How is it somebody like President Trump had to say that when, according to somebody in the chat, saying, oh, they've been doing this since the 40s. Okay, if they've been doing this since the 40s, how is it the years 2020, 25 when somebody like Trump had to say, well, we need to bring these jobs back to America? And then sure enough, people like Elon Musk, watch this. People like Elon Musk, they see what's going on. And the same people that, call Elon Musk out, right? Or they try to call him out. Watch this. You see it. Every time you go online. Who owns X? Elon Musk. Who owns Tesla? Elon Musk. Let's talk about it. I guarantee you, a lot of these individuals, these politicians, they're talking about a lot, right? They're talking about people that they are helping. Because a lot of these politicians, such as Governor Gavin Newsom, he made a post, a response to the House of Senate making an approval of a deal yesterday. And where did he post it? Oh, he posted it on Elon Musk's platform, X. Oh, wow. But shout out to Wendell. Wendell said it best. We need to come together, work together collectively. We comes with what? We doesn't have a quote unquote, well, what party are you? Are you Democrat? Are you Republican? Are you white? Are you black? Are you an immigrant? It does not come with that. We have to come together as a whole, no matter what party you are. Because now 2034 comes up. It is being reported, allegedly, there's not going to be enough Social Security available. These are the issues we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Not talk about, these. I just want everybody to win. And I know it sounds like it's just not possible. It's impossible. But it's really interesting how I'm telling you right now, and I'm not going to say nobody's name, but it's a lot of people that I follow on this platform. They don't live here in this country, America, and they sit back and look at us like, wow, they have it made and they don't even know it. They're sitting talking and arguing amongst themselves, putting each other down. And you have a lot of people outside in other countries, they said, if I just had $10, if I just had $10 and a way to come to America, I would hop on it. We sitting over here, we can't even come together as one and help the people that need to be helped. Because I'm telling you right now, it makes no sense for somebody who puts in 10 hours and they're working on IOU. It makes no sense for someone who works in the hospital as a nurse, right? Got to talk about the nurses. We got to talk about the physicians, right? Because of healthcare, because of so many people, right, are under this ACA, right? The quality of care is not good. Why? Because a lot of people, it's a lot of hospitals, a lot of clinics, a lot of facilities are understaffed. You're putting pressure on the nurses. You're putting pressure on physicians. You're putting pressure on these facilities. And the only thing that Chuck Schumer can say is let's extend. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politigram. Shout out to everybody in the live. Wendell, I am writing your name down. Big hugs to Wendell because you said it best. That's the highlight of this live. This comment. Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Please come together, ladies and gentlemen. Please come together. And I'm telling you right now, for those who don't know, please keep me in your prayers, but please pray for yourself first, right? Pray for yourself. Pray for your family and loved ones. Please keep me in your prayers. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so the logistics of things is very different when in my case I have a loved one in the hospital. I am not their daughter. I am not their direct next of kin, as they would say. I'm not. But my loved one who's in the hospital, um, they don't have a confidant, never had any children. Now we're in limbo with how things are going to be done. Yes, it is so much, and the people that are supposed to be doing certain things, they have went ghost. So I say that to say, please keep me in your prayers. Keep my loved one in your prayers. It's taking a toll on me because I'm coming from someone that has been in the healthcare field. I'm just giving a little bit, not too much, not too much. But it hits different when you have a relative in the hospital. It hits different, and um it's just it hits different. And it's just the words that I'm seeing how these congressmen are talking, especially Hakeem Jeffries. I almost want to cry because they just don't get it. Or maybe they have gotten complacent with their position in Congress. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting to get to 85 like Nancy Pelosi before they say I'm no longer going to run again. Maybe they're waiting till they get to 85. I don't know. But I want people to understand this. Please take note and take heed to what I say. Um, the rich are getting richer. Congress is seeming like they only care about the power for themselves. And I pray that a deal is, I'm looking in the long run. Long run in the sense, January the 30th is the date that we all need to be thinking about. But shout out to everybody in the live. Hello, Sunspot. Sunspot says, what it do, hot ATL? Glenn Paul says, just look at the Philippines. They have an earthquake and a typhoon, and I believe a tsunami. Those people live such a simple life and are most happy people. That's a damn lie. Now, I will say this. Okay. When it comes down to people who are not as fortunate as Americans, they will not show it as much as us Americans when it comes down to when we struggling. Oh, we want to cry every moon and rocket and above. But when it comes down to Philippines, yes, they have the struggles, right? But shout out to the Philippines. They don't show it. But just because they don't show it, they don't mean that they're so happy. They don't mean that they're happy. They don't mean that they're happy, but they're not going to just stop doing and stop moving. And why do I say that? Look at what happened during the government shutdown over here. You had people in line, right? Now, if you're a single parent, okay, I get it. But I'm looking at people in line. I'm saying, how in the world this lady got a boyfriend in the line with her and their 5 kids? Why is this man standing in line? He need to be out washing cars or something. Oh my God. But when it comes, I'm gonna say this, when it comes down to Philippines, when it comes down to people in other countries, yes, they are going to work their tails off. But please don't think they are just all happy and all that. They're just not gonna show it like how we show it. Why? Because they know no matter what, they got to keep moving forward. And I want people over here, us as a people, to, take Take how the Philippines move. Take that how the Africans move. Take that how the Chinese move. Take that how the Japanese move. My God, take that how the damn Indians moving. Hello. What do they all have in common? Whatever they're going through, even when it comes down to Jamaica, shout out to Jamaica, shout out to Canada, especially the Jamaicans, especially the Haitians. Shout out to you guys and the Nigerians too. But I'm gonna say this, and Uganda, definitely Uganda, East Africa. I will say this, right? They will be going through pure hell, but they will make a way for themselves no matter what is going on. And it's one person, I'm not gonna say their name because I don't think I'm not gonna say their name, but it's one person that's in the Philippines. I still have respect for them, right? When they do their lives, they don't talk about the sad stuff. Even though people that know them, they know people who know them personally, they're going through stuff. But guess what? They're not going to put that out there, how struggling is. They're going to what? Keep going. And I'm going to tell you about this person. I'm definitely not going to say their name. I'm not going to say their name. The person I'm talking about, their family has their back. When I say has their back, they tell them all you got to do, you can stay and live with us. You don't have to worry. All we ask is that you get back on your feet. Keep working. And this person I'm talking about, they are working. Not only working, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're doing everything with their family. That's the difference. But what about over here? Remember the story I just told you about the 56-year-old lady over here? Her grandsons kicked her out of her own car, left her on a sidewalk. Couldn't get up, stole her phone. She back in the hospital. That's the difference. Going back into the comments, shout out to Philippines, shout out to everybody in the live, shout out to America. Wendell says Social Security will remain solvent by any means necessary. This will include various methods of population deduction. Whoa. APEC is in control of our destiny. This is why I tell people, please don't become so complacent with the system. And the system doesn't necessarily just mean the government, right? Because I want to make sure I want to get that on point. Don't get so complacent with whatever you're doing in life. Always push yourself for, more. And more doesn't necessarily mean, well, I want more money. No, pushing yourself might mean, okay, I might need to be more happy with where I am in my life. I might need to be more focused with what I need to do to move forward in my life. Now, when it comes down to Social Security, shout out to Wendell Scott in the chat. I gotta highlight Wendell. And Charlie the Man says, shout out to Philippines. Lifetime says the Philippines had it where you couldn't leave your house during the Philippines. Lifetime, say it again, Lifetime. See, this is why I say, struggles. It's levels to struggles. And that's why a lot of countries outside of America, they look at America like it is gold. Like it is pure gold. It's one senator in Florida. I'm not going to say his name. If you would like to know his name, I do have a video up. It's the most recent video up, where he speaks about how he came over here at the age of 7, just like Mamdani did. For those that don't know, Jerome Mamdani, he came over here at the age of 7, but different countries, all the way different. Now, when it comes down to this Republican that I'm speaking about, that is in Florida, he stated how his parents came over here with $10 from Cuba. And he stated how they came over here because of the horrible regime. For those who don't know, during his time, who ran Cuba, right? According to him. And he stated that when he came over here, they only had $10. But he said because of his parents bringing him over here, he was able to become a firefighter. Not only a firefighter, but now he is in Congress. And they did that because of hard work and not quote unquote, you know, depending on everything being what free, 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 free. Working together. And shout out to Wendell. Wendell said it best, when it comes down to the methods. This is why I say don't depend on the quote unquote system. And hello, Ruck. Ruck Dog says, hey, politic. I hope you're good, Graham. I'm better. And doing lives like this makes me stronger. That's why I say thank you so much. Shout out to Child on Demand for always coming in. And definitely Joy. Joy, I know, look, it's things that Joy does and says in the chat, and it really makes my day. And Joy, if you don't know it, I'm gonna say it now, right? If you don't know, I'm gonna say it like you make my day. You really make my day, even when I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling it. But I'm telling you right now, you need people like this in the chat. And people like that is you guys, right? This is why I tell people, if you don't do nothing else, be grateful when you wake up every day. No matter what condition or shape you're in, be grateful that you woke up today and you saw today. Life is too short to worry about things that you don't have control of. Don't fall for what these sorry can't get right politicians tell you, right? You have to get up sometimes for you. Sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself and I don't give a damn what nobody say. I'm going to get up. I'm going to make a way no matter what struggle I'm going through. I got this. And thank you so much, Sin from, what a name. I can't still. Shout out to Sin from. Let me write it down. Sin from. I'll highlight your name. Shout out to Sin from. Rug Dog said, who you calling short? But thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the live. It means a lot. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys people, sometimes I have a nervous laugh, but I want people to know this, please be thankful for whatever situation you're in, and just know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because I'm telling you right now, whatever you're going through, you better believe it. Somebody's going through something worse than you. They're just not letting you know and showing you what they're going through. Just like I didn't let the gentleman who is the landlord for that 56-year-old lady that I told you guys about. He doesn't know I got a loved one in the hospital, that I'm going through some things, some strange things. He doesn't know that. I'm not gonna tell him either. But you have to move forward. And let me make sure I put Sin in the banner. Thank you so much, Sin from. What a name, Sin from. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to be a person of my word and put you in the banner for people who send super stickers and support. Going to put you in the banner. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure I put it in. And going back into the poll, we do have a live poll. And the question is, should the government reopen? 59% says yes, make America great again. 29% says no. 12% says it's Monday, I plead the fifth. Well, thank you guys for coming in. Oh my goodness, Sin from. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Sin from. I appreciate it. Shout out to Window. Shout out to Wendell Scott. Shout out to Sin from. Thank you so much for the support. And I forgot to say this. I always say this in my live. Sometimes I say it in the middle of a live, and other times I say it always at the end. And I always have 6 affirmations. I want you guys to always live by this, no matter what, what you're going through. Because I tell myself this, even right now, what I'm going through some stuff. Oh, Jesus. And it goes like this: 6 affirmations that I stand by to move forward. And it goes like this. Rule number 1, eliminate the if, focus on the present. Rule number 2, focus on self, not others. Rule number 3, tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Rule number 4, tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. Rule number 5, advocate for yourself, because if you don't speak up or advocate for yourself, who will speak up for you? And rule number 6, last but not least, don't sweat the small stuff. Life is too short. And shout out to Child Ruck is just like you, okay? If you know, you know. Ruck is just like you. When it comes down to he has information, he speaks up, he knows a lot of things. He goes on he goes on different platforms and panels. He's just like you, child. Okay, if you know, you know. But thank you guys for coming in. We do have a live poll. Should the government reopen? 59% says yes, 29% says no, 4% says I plead the fifth. I just had to come on today, ladies and gentlemen, to do this live because I was just so flabbergasted with what happened this weekend. And I said, wait a minute. Tim Kaine, you did all this mess. You did all this mess right along with Shifty Schiff for you to say, well, I'm gonna throw in the towel and roll with this agreement, with this deal. I said, what the hell? But thank you guys for coming in. Hello, Tammy. Tammy says, thank you for the positive vibes you give on every live. And that's what I try to do. Ruck says, can I add another rule? Oh, go ahead, Ruck. Ruck says, every day in every way we get a little better. Shout out to Ruck. I like that. Ruck says, in every day, in every way, we get a little better. Yes. I think people put too much pressure on themselves. I know I do. People tend to put too much pressure on themselves and, not just deal with what they can have, only deal with what you can control. Take it one step at a time. Don't try to take 10 steps forward. How can you take 10 steps forward? You can't even deal with one step. Hakeem Jeffries. Anyway, but thank you guys for coming in. We're going to have a brief commercial break. Shout out to everybody in the live. Shout out to Sin From. Shout out to Wendell. We're going to talk about what Wendell Scott said in this super chat he posted. That's why I still haven't highlighted, okay? When it comes down to this Social Security. But in the meantime, hello, how you doing? This is Politic Graham. You're listening to the platform for you, us all, right? No matter what party you are, no matter what culture, what country, this is a platform for you. You are the voice. We're going to have a brief commercial break. Shout out to everybody in the live. Please subscribe, like. You're listening to Politic Ground. Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs.
We care about average working people. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs.
We care about average working people. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Politic Graham. Hit the like button, subscribe to the platform. Thank you guys for coming in. Going back into the comments, Wendell Scott says Social Security will remain solvent by any means necessary. This will include various methods of population reduction. APEC is in control of our destiny. Now, I will say this. Now, I have been saying, when it continues with this overspending, right? This overspending that has been going on, right? If that continues, then Social Security, according to reports, like I stated, according to reports now, Social Security will be in trouble by 2034. Now, I will say this. Now, the report that I got this is from the same people that believe in continuing a quote unquote government shutdown with the Congress still getting paid. Okay, they believe that Congress should still get paid even while there's a government shutdown. So we have to tread lightly with these reports. But when it comes down to Social Security, I want Congress to be more for the people. Be for the people, because it seems as if the current actions that are transpiring, they are not, what they say they are. Okay, and they claim to be for the people. People voted them in, but they have gotten so complacent. So complacent. For those who don't know, when it comes down to Wendell Scott, you coming real hard when you said APEC. I gotta be very careful talking about APEC. Woo! For real. Now I will say this. Okay. I don't want to bash any cultures. I don't want to bash any cultures. This is a platform we welcome everybody, right? And the reason I say that because the APEC is a bipartisan pro-political action committee. For those that don't know, it is the largest I don't want to get too much into it per se. Committee. Now, when it comes down to Israel, because they're pro-Israel according to their website. I'm just gonna look. I'm not saying nothing that's not false. That's false. I will say this: when it comes down to Social Security, I'm standing on the fact that no matter what people say, right? I'm gonna be very careful. If there is continuing overspending here, when it comes down to the number of different programs, and if the Supreme Court of Justice, especially the Supreme Court of Justice, make the decision that the tariffs that President Trump has implemented, if they find that his tariffs are illegal, he will have to redistribute billions and billions of dollars back to countries all over the world. So if that were to happen, right, then Social Security would definitely be in trouble. And the reason I say it is because people have to understand President Trump implemented the tariffs, according to him, is for national security, is for not only national security, but to get us out of the deficit that we're in. And I want people to understand this. The deficit had went up from 37 trillion to 38. So how can President Trump get it down if Supreme Court of Justice were to say, well, what you did was illegal, you got to give the money back. You got to pay Canada back. You got to pay Japan back. You got to pay China back. You got to pay Germany back. You got to pay Mexico back. You got to pay India back. If that were to happen, you think you have seen hell? You haven't seen nothing yet. Because I'm telling you right now, and that's one thing I didn't like about what Chuck Schumer said yesterday. He said, President Trump president is doing this and doing that. My thing is this: what are you doing? You're asking the president and the current administration for more money, and you don't even have a plan. And you want to sit there and question Trump and say, well, Trump doesn't have a plan. But you were sitting here saying, I know Trump doesn't have a plan, but guess what? I want more of the pie too. So let's give out more money. We need to have a plan. Need to. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. Going back into the comments, yes, we have a live poll. Thank you so much for coming in. Yes, careful now. Look, Rook Dog says, yes, careful now. Yes, I was careful. Look, you caught that, Rook. I was careful. I was careful. That's why I said we welcome everybody, okay? Mahogany says stimulus checks. Yes, speaking of stimulus checks, I will say this. President Trump did hint, he hinted on his Truth Social platform over the weekend. President Trump, he's been throwing out some stuff. And recently he stated, well, we were talking about that people could get $2,000 back from the tariffs. We was talking about that, wink, wink. Basically, I feel when President Trump put that out, he's basically saying, guess what, guys? Look, I'm telling you now, if you lean my way, you'll get $2,000 check in the mail, wink, wink. But if you lean Chuck Schumer way, you're not getting nothing but cries and tears and crocodiles. So I want people to, look at the bigger picture, right? And the bigger picture is do your own research. Don't go off of what these politicians, are putting out there. Because on one side of the coin, you have Hakeem Jeffries, and I want to talk about him because if I can remember clearly, Hakeem Jeffries, he didn't want to stand by Zohran Mamdani. If I can remember clearly, not only him, but Chuck Schumer as well. But it's so odd that they went on ahead and endorsed Mamdani. Then to top it all off, not only did they go ahead and endorse Mamdani, let's talk about now in the real world. Real, what's going on now? Aren't they the same ones that said they didn't want to sign a bill, that they didn't want to sign the CR deal? Didn't they say that? They weren't going to sign no CR deal? Didn't they say that? But here is Chuck Schumer. He says, well, we'll sign the CR deal now, but you got to promise that we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this. You wasted 41 days, and you ended up getting the same resolution from the Republicans. So what was your whole point? You sacrifice millions and millions of people not receiving SNAP. You sacrifice millions and millions of people, premiums going up. So what was the point? Come on now. But thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the live. Yes, we have a live poll. Should the government reopen? I think we're almost at that mark. I will say this. When it comes down to the government reopening, I want people to understand this particular deal that House of Representatives are going to be looking at today, because the bill can't get passed or signed by cannot get passed or signed by Trump until not only House of Senate, passes, but also it has to go back to the House of Representatives, and now it's being brought back to the House of Representatives. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Okay, now this is where I want to see where Hakeem Jeffries stand, where AOC stand, where Jasmine Crockett stand. We already know PTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. We already know where she stands. She's already stated that she has never been for a government shutdown. She feels that, yes, the quote-unquote ACA needs to be reformed, but it's not helping anyone, including family and friends such as herself. It's not helping anyone by being in a government shutdown. So she's not for this. She has advocated, and it's kind of wild because for some months now, MTG, she has been disagreeing with a lot of things that her peers have been disagreeing. She has been disagreeing from what her peers, the Republican Party, has done. One thing is when it came down to, she's an advocate of releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is prior to this. It's kind of wild, but I say that to say none, I digress. That all what is going on right now, people, please don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. I really believe that at the end of the day, we're not out of this situation. And the situation is that this CR bill that they're going to sign, this is only up until January the 30th. So I want you guys to take heed to that. Rock, what you talking about, Ruck? Ruck says RPG, rocket propelled grenade, TPG, totally political. Yes, shout out to Ruck. Thank you so much, Ruck. But thank you guys for coming in. I just wanted to do a quick little live today. Shout out to everybody in the live. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Ruck. Shout out to everybody with the super stickers. Got to give a big shout out to Wendell Scott. Shout out to Wendell Scott. Shout out to not only Wendell, going back up. Thank you so much, you guys. But in the meantime, this is Politic Ground. This is a platform where we welcome everybody, no matter what your party is, right? We welcome everybody, no matter what race, gender, no matter what country you're in. This is a platform for you. But thank you guys for coming in. We're going to have a quote unquote a quick commercial break. And this is Politic Ground.
Reopen.
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they're trying to lower health care costs.
We care about average working people. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs.
We care about average working people. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. We're having some issues. But thank you guys for coming in. We're literally having some issues on my end. If you can see, if you would know. If you guys can hear me, press 1. If you guys can hear me, press 1. If you guys can hear the live, press 1. You're listening to Politic Graham. This is quote unquote Politic Graham. If you can hear me, press 1. Making sure. Let me go back up. Can anybody hear me in the live? Press 1. Someone in the comments says, I don't trust the government in one way or the other. Shout out to them. But in the meantime, if you can hear me in the comments, press 1. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm trying to get this matter situated on my end. But shout out to everybody in the live. Thank you so much. If you can hear me. Okay, hello, Eric. Thank you so much, Eric. Okay, I'm making sure you guys can hear me because it's like on my end, it is. Oh my, shout out to Georgia Maniac. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Ruck. Shout out to Georgia Maniac. And hello, Eric. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Mom. Shout out to Terry Pierce. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm just making sure because it's like on my end. Oh my, it's a lot going on. But in the meantime, I had a great live. I'm trying to see if I can get back on my end on one. It's acting up. So now we have to come with backups. It is a lot going on. It's like backup, backup, backup. But thank you guys for coming in. Let me make sure I can. Oh, trying to multitask. But I might have to end the live. It's like God send you signs, right? God will tell you, my child. God will send you signs. And I think, let me see if I can try to get back online on one end of what I'm on. Whoopee. Boy. But thank you guys for coming in. Had a great live. Shout out to everybody in the live. Hope my mod team is handling business. Because I'm trying to get back up on my end where I can see you guys all the way. It is a lot going on my end, but thank you guys for coming in. I want to make sure I can see you guys. Jesus, I won't do it again, Jesus. Please forgive me. But shout out to everybody in the live. Before I get off, please, check out. I do have a video. I'm back up a little bit. I do have a recent video. It's called Day 37 Shutdown versus Meltdown. It's less than 1 minute, or it's less than 1 minute and 24 seconds. Please, I implore, if you would like to support, do nothing. If you have less than 2 minutes of your life to just watch, okay? I'm still learning how to do pre-recorded videos. This is a one band as far as learning how to do certain content and things. But thank you guys for coming in. Trying to make sure, okay, everything is up. Just making sure I'm not having no. Woo, but thank you guys for coming in. Let me see if I can get back on to see you guys, what I can see. Hold on. My apologies. Wendell Scott. Oh, I see it now. Thank you. Jesus. Going back into the comments. Wendell Scott says, you have done well. Thank you so much. You have done well, and thank you. Thank you so much, Wendell. I appreciate it. Going back up. Thank you so much, you guys. Shout out to Sunspot. Shout out to ATL. Eric says, I'm just here to remind you all there's a reason why the Democrat logo is a, oh my goodness. Now, Eric, now you know we cannot say that in the chat. This is another Eric. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Politic Graham. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Georgia Maniac. Georgia Maniac says, hi, Ruck. Good morning to you. And we do have a live poll. The poll is, and I quote, should the government reopen? 60% says, heck yes, the government should reopen. 28% says no. 12% says, I plead the fifth. And I'm standing on this. I love you guys. If nobody tells you, I love you. If nobody else tells you. But thank you guys so much. This would be one of the, I don't think this is the shortest live. But thank you guys for coming in. God would tell you when it's time to resign. And I hope we're going to have a conversation about some Congress members that I feel need to resign expeditiously. Okay, they need to resign very quick. And when it comes down to President Trump, I just want President Trump to win. I don't know how he is going to make people, because a lot of people, I'm telling you right now, I have lost people because they are so upset with President Trump. But I employ people to do this. Please do your research. Please don't fall for the flim flam. Do not fall for the flim flam that a lot of these politicians tell you, because everything, when it comes down to Hakeem Jeffries, when it comes down to Chuck Schumer, when it comes down to Schiff, Adam Schiff, a lot of what they say, it is not true. And the same feelings and views that you have of our current administration and President Trump, you should have those same feelings about your congressman, right? Or congresswoman. You should have that same energy. And I want people to understand this. President Trump will only be in office 3 more years. But the real question is, who will be the voice for you once he's out of office? And I think people should really lock in and focus in on that. And, think about, how can you really help yourself and help your community and help your loved ones? Because at the end of the day, you cannot continue to depend on the false hope of the system. And this is Politic Graham. Thank you so much. Shout out to Scott Wendell. Let me write your whole thing down. I appreciate it. Shout out to Georgia Maniac. I see it's a lot of people from Georgia coming in. Shout out to Sunspot. Thank you so much, Sunspot. Shout out to Georgia Maniac. Okay, I appreciate you guys for coming in. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a live poll, or had a live poll. Should the government reopen? And 60% as of now says yes. And thank you so much for the like. Hit that like button. Let's get it up. But thank you guys for coming in. TF2 Mr. Nice Guy says, well said. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you so much, you guys. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Child on Demand. Shout out to Ruck. Shout out to the mod team being strong and supportive. Thank you so much. And on that note, I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. Like I said, please keep me in your prayers. And before you pray for me, pray for yourself, please. Okay, you have to be first before any of us. Georgia Maniac says, have a great day, Graham, and thank you so much. Let me go back in the chat. Georgia Maniac says, have a great day, Graham. Thank you so much. Shout out to TF2, Mr. Nice Guy says, well said. Shout out to Ruck. Ruck says, I hope to run into you again on chat or panel. Yes, child. Ruck is like you, child. Okay. And many blessings to you, Joy. Thank you so much, Joy. Many blessings. Well, Wendell Scott says we have to be the voice for ourselves and each other. We have run out of all the other alternatives. Oh my goodness, Wendell, you come with the gems. Ooh, let me write that down. It's like I'm literally taking notes. I am taking notes from you guys. Shout out to Wendell Scott. Wendell says we have to be the voice for ourselves and each other. We have run out of all the other alternatives, and I couldn't have said it best. And Wendell, I am writing this down, what you are saying. Hello, Trump. Trump Malcolm says Trump wins again. Thank you so much for coming in, Trump. Now, I will say this, right? On this platform, we welcome everybody, right? This is a platform where you are the voice, right? And, you know, you being the voice, it doesn't matter what gender you are, what race you are, what party you are, because I think that's one of the main issues. We do have a lot of division going on here in this beautiful, amazing place called America. And I love America no matter what we're going through. No matter what we're going through, because I want people to understand this. I can't get mad at the country, right? I can only disagree with some of the people that the country has within it. And on that note, thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the live. Let's get the likes up. I will keep the poll running, and we do have a live poll. Should the government reopen? 60% says yes, make America great again. 28% says no, and 12% says I plead the fifth. And thank you guys for coming in. I had a great live. Shout out to everybody in the live. Big hugs to Joy. Shout out to Ruck. Ruck says, y'all be your best with each other today. Yes. And shout out to Trump Malcolm. Yes, Ruck. Gwendol is speaking facts. I'm telling you. Georgia Maniac says, takes all of us to make the world go round. Be nice. Yes. This is what we need. More positive. Please. We need more positive energy. Ruck says, darn it. Just when I thought the show tunes were starting. But thank you guys for coming in. I will see you guys in the next live. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. This is Politic Graham. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna end this live right away. We shall see. But in the meantime, shout out to everybody in the live. This is Politic Graham.
Average working people. He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud, and he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs. We care about average working people.
He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud, and he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs. We care about average working people.
He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs. We care about average working people.
He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs. We care about average working people.
He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs. We care about average working people.
He wants no income caps, millionaires getting COVID subsidies. He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud. And he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care costs.
And thank you so much, you guys, for staying in. It's all love, Rook. Thank you so much for coming. It's all love, Rook. I'm not mad at you. Rook says, gotta go walk the pupper dog. Hugs. I'll check back in when I get back if you're still streaming. Thank you so much, Rook. I appreciate it. Also, hello, Sammy. Sammy says Trump for 2020-25. My question to you, Sammy, well, you know what? My question for you, Sammy, do you feel that we should still be in a government shutdown? Do you feel that we should still be in a government shutdown? And hello, thank you for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the live. Going back into the comments. Ebony says, illegals don't have rights to anything until they become citizens. If not, then leave. Besides, they got benefits when Biden gave them $10,000 in stamps and $15,000 money. Whoa, Ebon. Whoa, tell us how you really feel. Now, I will say this, okay, and I want to do this respectfully, okay. I'm not going to sit here and point all the blame at the quote unquote illegal immigrants, because you know a lot of these quote unquote illegal immigrants that came over here you know, the wrong way, right? They were working for employers here in America, right? And getting paid under the table, right? And some of them came over here, got to be honest, came over here and were given false promises by a lot of people over here, including the government. Let's call it for what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be fooled now. Don't be fooled or fall for the flim flam. But thank you guys for coming in. Before I leave, let's get the likes up. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the platform. Hello, how you doing? This Politic Room. We do have a poll. Should the government? One moment, ladies and
He wants $0 premiums that are filled with fraud, and he wants to enrich insurance companies.
Therefore, I must vote no.
Should the government reopen?
This isn't about safety. It's about politics masquerading as safety. Because they don't want to lower health care.
my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Locke. What a name, Locke. Locke says healthcare premiums are going up regardless if Trump funds Obamacare or not. And who is at fault for that? Shout out to Locke. Locke says, let me highlight you, Locke. Locke says healthcare premiums are going up regardless if Trump funds Obamacare or not. And this is one of the reasons I feel that the Congress should be talking about the other issues. I feel that Congress needs to speak on the real issues, right? How do we deal with the quote unquote, right? These private insurances, right? Insurance companies. Why is it a lot of these insurance companies are going up when it comes down to premiums, right? These are the things that we need to talk about. These are the things that I feel that Congress needs to address instead of holding temper tantrums. Because what happened to being for the people when it comes down for their health? Because just because you're talking about the Affordable Care Act, are the recipients of the Affordable Care Act, will they get the best quality of health? And will they get the best access to health care? These are the things we need to actually look at. That's why I tell people, do your research. Don't fall for the flim-flam. Don't fall for the deflect. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. We do have a live poll. Should the government reopen? 61% says yes, make America great again. 28% says no. 11% says I plead the fifth. And thank you guys for coming in. I was going to end this live, but thank you so much for coming in. Had a great live. Let me make sure I got everything because I might talk about some of this tomorrow or later today. We shall see. But in the meantime, this is Politic Graham. I had a great live. Morris says, before you start about premium raising, how much were your insurance premium before Obama administration? Well, I'm going to say this, okay? How does it affect me? We have to, on my end, I have car insurance that let's just say this, I had to get it down to $700. Okay, car insurance. How did I get it down? Because I had to actually become the primary for a loved one close to me because their car insurance was $700. Car insurance, almost $1,000 a month. See, people talk about real problems. Yeah, imagine paying $700 on car insurance. But on that note, you think you got real problems? Try paying almost $1,000 on car insurance, right? Do I need to go there about the health insurance? Do I need to go there about the taxes? Huh? Let's break it down. Since we want to sit there, talk about premiums raising. Let's talk about this taxes that I have to think about every year when it comes down to $4,000 taxes. Oh, and this is not $4,000 I get back. This $4,000 I gotta pay. Oh, you want to talk about that? See, people like, let's not do that. Like, that's why I say I want Chuck Schumer and Congress to talk about real issues. Yeah, you think you got bill problems? Huh. You think you got bill problems? Huh. Bye. But thank you guys for coming in. Georgia Maniac says, Truth Graham, everything T does good or not, they fight them and hurt us, we the people. Yes. That's why I say you're sitting back, people sitting back talking about, oh, Trump this, Trump that. Let me ask you this. Do you have to worry about a $700 car insurance? Do you have to worry about $4,000 when it comes down to taxes a year? And we ain't even talking about living expenses. Don't get me started. So you come at me with that. So if you, I want people to open up. If you can afford, I'm serious, and it's not even being funny. Because see, I got pissed off. Somebody said some little ignorant stuff in the chat, right? If you can afford to send me $10,000 and you still want to sit there and talk about what Trump is doing and not doing, then holler back, because I'm telling you right now, Richard Blumenthal, J.B. Pritzker, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Cory Booker, Jasmine Crockett, they don't give a damn but themselves. And on that note, thank you guys for coming in. Please work on your health and your welfare and your care, your own. Please, at the end of the day, do not fall for the flim because I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make any sense for insurance to tell me that I got to pay $700 car insurance. And this is not no new car. I don't drive no Porsche. Hell, I don't even drive a Honda. But thank you guys for coming in. I will talk to you guys another time. $700. I sure did. That's why I don't have anything to say for people in the city that I live in. The city that I live in. I live in the same city Tyler Perry gave out $1.4 million recently when it came down to SNAP recipients. I would like Tyler Perry to invest in the same community that he likes to film in. That's the community that I live in. I want him to really invest in the city of Atlanta. I'm not a bad driver. Watch. No, it's not that. When it comes down to insurance, it all depends on the fact that, see, I don't live in the outskirts. I live really in the city of Atlanta. And when you live really in the city of Atlanta, we're talking about where Fonnie Willis, right? Need I say more? So that's why you insurance is up. Insurance is up. No, I don't drive bad. Walter, you were wrong. I don't drive bad. But yes, these are things that people have to worry about. Okay. But on that note, this is Politic Grim. And I want to say this, okay? The $700, okay? I'm not the only one, and no, I don't drive bad, but when you live in the city and it's like, it plays a factor. You know, how much your health insurance is, how much your car insurance is, how much your taxes are. Okay. So, and then also it plays a factor how much rent you'll pay, right? So please take that and you know, it is what it is. But before I go, I always end the live with quote unquote reading the fair use copyright disclaimer. Okay. Thank you guys for coming in. I will end it like that. Let me make sure let me see if I can get it down. Oh, and for that $700, I want people to understand this. Somebody had to actually put me as a primary because the insurance was too high for them. Okay. Okay, I want people to understand this. So you talking about real bills? Please. Whatever. In the meantime, in between time, this Politic Graham, as always, as I always end the live, fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. Thank you guys for coming in. My apologies. Okay. For a snapping, but somebody in the comments said something real ignorant, and I just